20 minutes of education.
Symon Petlyura and Stepan Bandera, two important figures in the fight for Ukraine's independence. People often call Bandera the father of the independence movement. You may have heard the song Our Father is Bandera.
Батько наш Бандера.
But in fact, he was 30 years younger than Petlyura, so he could have been his son. They both had one main goal, an independent Ukrainian state, but they lived in different times and used very different methods. Petlyura focused on diplomacy, culture, and military leadership, while Bandera chose radical action and underground resistance. Who was Symon Petlyura? Petlyura was born in 1879 near Poltava in the Russian Empire at that time. He came from a religious family and was educated in the church seminary. As a young man, he became involved in Ukrainian cultural and political life. He wrote articles, organized student protests, and joined political groups fighting for Ukrainian rights. He was smart, well-educated, and had strong diplomatic skills. He helped bring Ukrainian culture to Europe. For example, thanks to Symon Petlyura's efforts, a Ukrainian choir went on a world tour, and that's how the Christmas song Carol of the Bells, originally a Ukrainian song called Shedrik, became famous worldwide. But Petlyura wasn't just about culture, he was also a military leader. He led volunteer troops during the chaotic years after the Russian Empire collapsed. In 1919, he became the head of the Ukrainian government, leading the fight against both the Bolsheviks and other enemies of Ukrainian independence. Even when the war was lost and Ukraine was occupied, Petlyura continued his work abroad. He moved to Paris and tried to keep the idea of a Ukrainian independence alive through diplomacy and publishing. In 1926, he was assassinated in Paris, likely by a Soviet agent. Who was Stepan Bandera? Bandera was born in 1909 in western Ukraine, which at that time was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. He grew up during World War I, right on the front lines. His childhood was shaped by war, national struggle, and political violence. He was interested in Ukrainian independence from a very young age. His father was a priest and a member of the Ukrainian parliament in the short-lived Western Ukrainian Republic. Bandera had health problems as a child, but he trained himself to be strong, even using painful methods like holding his fingers indoors or going without food to prepare for possible torture in the future. And sadly, that came true later in his life. In the 1930s, Bandera became a leader in the Organization of Ukrainian Nationalists. They believed in a direct action, including sabotage, assassinations, and protests. The people they targeted were usually those involved in persecuting Ukrainians, such as Soviet officials responsible for the Holodomor, man-made famine, or Polish authorities trying to suppress Ukrainian schools and culture. Bandera was arrested by Polish police and sentenced to death, later changed to life in prison. His trial brought international attention, and he became a symbol of Ukrainian resistance. He was released in 1939 when Poland collapsed under Nazi and Soviet invasion. In 1941, Bandera and his followers declared Ukraine's independence again, but the Nazis quickly arrested him because he wouldn't follow their rules. He was put in a concentration camp until 1944, then lived in exile in Germany. In 1959, he was assassinated in Munich by a KGB agent with poison. So both men were killed for their ideas, but during their lives they gave everything they had to the dream of a free Ukraine. Petlyura, Symon Petlyura, was the diplomat and strategist, brain and culture. Bandera was the fighter, radical action and personal sacrifice. Both of them were super intelligent. Their stories are different but connected. Both are still remembered today, and their names are often used in Russian propaganda to attack Ukrainian nationalism. But in reality, they represent the long, painful, and proud struggle for Ukraine's freedom. Also, fun fact, both were quite short. Petlyura was 166 centimeters, Bandera was only 159 centimeters, but clearly their height didn't stop them from having huge ideas. Share your ideas in comments. Tell me what do you think about Ukraine's freedom, independence, and how do you feel about it. And also subscribe, watch my other videos, and I'll be happy to see you again.